Easy three-digit multiplication. There's several different shortcuts that can be used when doing three-digit multiplication. But here's the easiest that I've found, okay? This is a shortcut that can be used with two-digit numbers, and with playing with the numbers a little bit, I realized that it could also be done using three-digit numbers, which of course makes the trick that much more impressive. So let's go through it. Let's say, for example, you are given a three-digit number, okay? Now you're going to ask them to choose any three-digit number they want with a middle digit of 5, and that's the key, okay? You're forcing them to have a 5 in the center. So let's say, for example, they give us the number 358, okay? You will then say, I'm going to take your three-digit number and I'm going to multiply it by another three-digit number. You multiply it by 352, and instantly you give the answer 126,016. So how is that possible that you could multiply those two numbers together so quickly? Well, there's a few things that are going on here, okay? One is that the two numbers obviously are very similar, aren't they? Okay. More specifically, the first digit of the number they gave us, 3, is the same as the first digit of the number we gave them, okay, or the number that we multiplied their number by, okay? Also, we told them that their middle digit had to be a 5, and the middle digit of our number is a 5, okay? And there's one last thing that's important. The last two digits, in this case 8 and 2, add up to 10. Okay? Also, the middle digits add up to 10, 5 and 5. That's the key. Okay? So let's break this down and show you where this total of 126,016 is coming from. Okay? The trick, as I mentioned, even though we're doing it with three-digit numbers, can be done with just two-digit numbers, okay? And you'll see that here in the explanation. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do 35 times 35, okay? 35 times 35. As you can see from the example here, notice what's changed. In order to do 35 times 35, all you have to do is change the top digit, 3, to a 4, okay? Or increase it by 1, okay? So if it was 85 times 85, you would change the 8 to a 9, okay? Now you're not changing both digits. Notice I only changed one of the 3's to a 4, okay? Once I've done that, now all I have to do in my head is multiply 4 times 3, which of course gives us 12, and then multiply the last two digits together. 5 times 5 gives me 25. And that would be the answer to 35 times 35. Okay? Now, in this case, I am, if you're familiar with math terminology, I'm actually squaring the number 35, right? Because I'm multiplying it by itself. But it works even if you're not squaring a number. So take this example. Let's say it was 37 times 33. Would my shortcut still work? Yes, it would. Notice the first digit is still the same, 3 and 3. Okay? And the last two digits still add up to 10. So whether it's 5 plus 5 giving us 10 or 7 plus 3 giving us 10, the shortcut would still work. So let's solve this. What do I have to do? Well, once again, I have to bump up the 3 to a 4. And now I multiply the first digit times the first digit. 4 times 3 would give me 12. Now I just multiply the last digits together. 7 times 3 gives me 21. So 37 times 33 is 1,221. All right, so let's come back over here. We've multiplied the first two digits of 358 times 352, okay? 35 times 35, we said, is 1225. Okay? But we're not quite done yet. Remember that the last digits also add up to 10, 8 and 2, which means we can do this shortcut again, and we have to do it again. So in the case of 35 times 35, I need to bump up one of these 5s to a 6. So in effect, I really need to do 36 times 35. Well, what's an easy way to do that? Well, 36 times 35 is the same as 35 times 35 plus another 35, because that 6 means we need one more 35. So in my head, I have 1225. Now I'm going to add to it another 35. So what's 1225 plus 35? Well, the 12 I just bring down. I don't have to do anything there. 25 plus 35 gives me 60. Okay? Now I take 1260 and I bring it over, and that's the first 4 digits of my final answer. And now, last but not least, I multiplied the last digits together. 8 times 2 gives me 16. That gives me 126016, which is also known as 126,016. And that's all there is to it. Okay? So again, you get to use the shortcut twice, and that's what makes the mental calculation that much faster and that much easier. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, gee, that looks like a lot of work. Well, 2 thoughts. One, it's really not much, okay? All you're really doing is single digit multiplication, right? The 5 times the 5 to get the 25. Then you're doing single digit multiplication again, the 8 times 2 to get the 16. The only tricky part is this addition problem, okay? In this case, I added 25 and 35 to get 60. Now, in some cases, you're going to have an, let's say, a 85 plus an 85, okay? And you're going to have to carry, and that'll be a slightly more difficult addition problem. But with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to do this without much difficulty. Now, if you're thinking mental calculations are not my strong point, and I don't really want to have to do all that mental calculation, guess what? You may not have to, okay? By the way, this is a Word document that I created for a class that I'm teaching, and I'll try to post this at the end of my video if possible. I'm not the best with technology, but if there's a way, I'll do it. But if you don't want to do all this math in your head, well, you may be in luck. If you're willing, and it's a big if you're willing to memorize some numbers. So take a look at these numbers here, okay? I have several 3-digit multiplication problems, okay? These are all the possible situations that you could come up with if your participant gave you a 3-digit number starting with a 1, okay? If the first digit starts with a 1, we know the second digit is going to start with a 5, right? Because we're forcing them to pick a 3-digit number with a middle digit of 5. And again, that's key, okay? So what possibilities could they come up with? Well, there's 5 different problems that you could be faced with, okay? 151, which of course you would multiply that by 159 because the 1 plus the 9 gives you the 10 that you need, okay? Or you could get 152 from the participant. You would multiply that by 158 because again, the 2 plus the 8 adds up to 10. That allows you to do your shortcut. If they give you 153, you're going to multiply it by 157. 154, you'll multiply by 156. And lastly, 155, well, you would square that number and multiply it by 155, okay? If you get the case where they give you two digits in a row that are both 5 like that, okay, in effect what you're doing is squaring that number, okay? And I would say something along the lines of lots of people can multiply 3-digit numbers, so I'm going to make it harder and I'm going to square the number you gave me, okay? Again, squaring means multiplying it by itself. Now, you and I know that that actually makes the math easier, but they're not going to know that, and they'll be impressed that you're squaring a 3-digit number. Okay, so anyway, getting back to these examples here, do you see a pattern with each of these problems? And you probably do. You'll notice that the first 3 digits of every answer is the same. 240, 240, 240, 240, 240. Which means if you're willing to memorize the number 240, you don't have to do any mental calculations at all, okay? If their first digit starts with a 1, the answer is going to start with 240. And all you'd have to do then is multiply the 1's digits, or the last digits, together, okay? So here, 240,000, or I'm sorry, 24,016, where's that coming from? Well, that's the 240, and 8 times 2 is 16. 240 with 16 added after it, okay? Same thing here. We have 240, 3 times 7 gives us 21, so on and so forth, okay? And it works for all of the numbers, okay? This is the example if it starts with a 1, okay? Down here, I show you what numbers you'd have to memorize if you wanted to do this for any starting number. So if their number starts with a 1, as we just saw, the first 3 digits will be 240. Notice if their number starts with a 2, okay? This example is 255 times 255, but it could be, as we saw before, 252 times 258, or 253 times 257. Either way, it doesn't matter. The first 3 digits will always begin with 650 if the first digit starts with 2. Or I should say if the first 2 digits start with 25. Because again, you're forcing them to choose the 5 in the middle. Okay? Look at numbers starting with 3 or 35. The first 4 digits will always be 1260. And again, all you'll have to do then is multiply the last digits together. All these examples are with the last digit of 5, but again, it could be any 2 digits that add up to 10. 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 7, 4 and 6, as we saw before. Okay? If their number starts with a 4, 2070. Starts with a 5, 3080. And so on and so forth. So altogether, you would be memorizing a total of what? 9 different numbers, okay? And you would be able to perform this trick just the way that I do, except you're not having to do any of that mental calculation, okay? So that's the simplest method that I have found for multiplying 3-digit numbers quickly and easily. It lets you look like a math whiz, and with this shortcut here, you don't even have to do the math if you'd rather not do it, okay? So I hope that's helpful and that you have fun performing that, and good luck with it. Any questions, go ahead and just put them in the comment section.